Hi Stampers, this is Trevis. Thanks for watching today. On our Friday videos, we are doing a color combos series, and today is our second one, and I am using the color wheel as my basis for getting these colors to you and trying some different ideas. So in your catalog, you have a page that is 132, and it shows the color wheel, but you don't have the color wheel, right? But I'm going to help you kind of work through what the color wheel, how the color wheel works. And so when you're looking at color, last week we did a monochromatic card, and today we're going to do an analogous card. And if you read on page 133, it says analogous is choose 3 colors that are side by side on the color wheel. These colors, neighbors, work together wonderfully to create harmony and balance. And so I did have a card in my mind, and I'm leaning towards greens because last week I did pinks. And so today we're leaning towards the greens. The stamp set that I chose, and I think this will make a really pretty card, is Leaf Collection. So this is a background stamp that is large, large and in charge. It's a beautiful stamp. And I am going to look at my color wheel. And when I look at it, I'm looking at 3 colors, right? 3 colors together. And I'm looking at these colors. I wanted a light green, so I'm starting with soft seafoam. It's not a color I use that often, but it's so pretty. Soft seafoam, and then I'm looking at Shy Shamrock and Shaded Spruce. So I'm kind of doing a light, a medium, and a dark green, and they're all kind of in the same. If I show you the stamp pads, you can kind of see there's soft seafoam, here's Shaded Spruce, and this is Shy Shamrock. So this is a new in color. So this is more of a, I call this like a sweeter green. It's these two kind of have a lot of blue in them, and this one is pale, but they play together pretty well, I think. And so we are going to make our card using those 3 colors. Okay, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I use my large stamps. And what I do is I do mount them. Okay, I use the sticker, right? I use the sticker that mounted on the red rubber stamp, but I leave it intact. I stick it to the case, and I just use it this way. I think the reason is because it's easier for me to handle. When we had the Stamparatus, a piece of white cardstock. When we had the Stamparatus, it was so easy to mount it in the Stamparatus. But now we don't have the Stamparatus anymore, so I'm kind of using this as my Stamparatus sort of base, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use sponge daubers, and I am going to dauber each of these colors onto this large stamp. So the first one I'm going to use is soft seafoam. And I am going to use a dauber, and I'm just going to daub ink onto the large stamp. Okay, so this might take a few minutes, so let's just talk while we're doing it. When you do this technique, your ink pad needs to be pretty well inked up. So if you don't have a re-inker, you might want to consider getting one before you start this if your stamp pads are a little bit dry. Okay, because you do need quite a bit of ink to, get this full technique. So I'm daubing some ink. And then I do wash these daubers after I use them. They will be stained, but I find that they last longer if I wash them. They're a little pricey, right? The cost of daubers has gone up, and I don't like to, I don't want my daubers to fall apart, so I do wash them in between. I don't use any soap or anything. Now I'm going to use Shy Shamrock. I don't use any soap or anything on them, but I do just put them under the faucet, and you know, kind of just soak out all the ink. And then I use a tissue to blot that out. So, or paper towel. Okay, this is a beautiful color. This is Shy Shamrock. This is one of the new in colors this year. And I love this color. It just reminds me of the beach. When I see it, I'm like, ooh, it's so pretty. Okay. I probably should have done that little bit down there with, in fact, I think I still have ink on here. Just do this. Put a little more soft seafoam on that. So since soft seafoam is the lightest color, you can kind of go over that. You know, you won't see the soft seafoam if you go over it with a darker color. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the last color I'm going to use is Shaded Spruce. So when I think of Shaded Spruce, I always think of like Christmas cards, because this is a dark, rich green. And it's, again, it's been around a while, so you probably need to re-ink your pad. I had to re-ink mine because it was so faint when I started doing this technique. I was like, well, that, you can't even see the, it's kind of like, you know, that. It really wasn't rich like this color is, like it is when it's fully inked. Okay. You have a lot of control with your daubers. Someone just asked me, what's the difference between daubers and blending pens? Well, blender brushes and blending brushes. Well, they definitely are quite different. The blending brushes are soft. They're actually brush, and they're very soft and do have their beautiful technique. The daubers, you have a lot of control with them for small areas and like techniques like this, or sponging the edges of things. No longer have, we don't sell sponges anymore, actual sponges. Obviously you can get sponges anywhere. And I still have some of our old yellow sponges, the big round ones. I use those occasionally, but these actually last pretty long if you take care of them. You don't clean them, not so good. Okay, so now we're totally inked up. So now I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock, and I like using a bigger piece because when you do this technique, you obviously need to get it in position quickly, you know, not quickly, but once. You need to get it on there and not move it around. So that's a little tricky. As I stick the paper in the card into the stamp. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, reason I like to have these edges to hold on to. I'm just gonna lay it flat down like that. And take a piece of scratch paper and give it a little pressure. Okay, so this is kind of what the Stamparatus would have done. We still had the Stamparatus. I still have mine, and maybe you still have yours, so you can certainly do this on your Stamparatus if you still have it. Okay, so now that's finished. And now I'm going to lift this off. And look, isn't that gorgeous? And so you can see all those greens, how well they play together. And the light and dark, and just the richness of this, of the Shaded Spruce versus the pale, gorgeous soft seafoam. Okay, so when you want to clean this, you just take your sponge. If you have a chamois, you can use your chamois. If you don't have a chamois, you can just use a paper towel to clean your stamp, I guess. But I'm going to use my chamois. I'm just going to blot all the ink off. I never like to put my stamps away dirty because I will most likely use this again on another color. And I don't want that green to be on there and me thinking, ooh, I cleaned it. No, didn't I clean it? So I always know that my stamps are clean. And, you know, you can take this off of here and you can clean on your scrub. If you don't have a chamois, you can clean it on your scrub also. Okay, looking good. All right, so now we're done with that. And now I am going to make a card. Okay, so I have this, And I thought it would be really cool to cut this part of this out. So I chose perennial postage dies. And so I could use, you know, a portion of this. I could use the center. And I think it's really hard to, but if I use the center, then I can cut the edges off and I can use that on a card later. So I think I'm just going to do that. I'm going to cut the center out. You might want to go over a little bit more and get a little more of this color in there because I have so much of the shaded spruce. Okay, so I have my cut and emboss here, so I'm going to cut this out. Okay, and then I picked another stamp set to, because this is beautiful, right? But it needs something else. It definitely needs something else to make a completed card. Okay. Now, before I finish this card, I should show you something if I have it handy. Did I even bring it over here? I did do 3 more colors. I tried something with some other colors, and I don't know what I did with them. Maybe I'll find it. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I tried these 3 colors, and you can see that how these pads need to be inked. Okay, so this is Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon, and Pool Party. It just doesn't have the wow factor that this has. One thing is, this is much crisper and brighter, but the colors also. The colors are just not, it's pretty, but the color, and I'll make a card with this, but it's not the wow that this one has. So I'm glad I used this one. All right, so now what I want to do now is I do want to mount this on a piece of cardstock, and I chose soft seafoam. I ran it through the Distress Tile 3D folder, and now I'm just going to glue this together. Okay, I think I'm just going to use liquid glue. Somebody asked me again, what's the difference? Why would you use liquid glue instead of regular Stampin' Seal? And the reason is because when you have this texture, it's really, really nice to have liquid glue that you can just glue that down. And it sticks really fast. Okay, so now, as I said, I wanted to add something else to this card. So I went to Flowers of Beauty dies. These are new dies that are in the annual catalog. Lots of dies in here. We have some standalone dies, which are these. And then we have the ones that cut out the flowers. But then we have these 2, and these are standalone dies also. And what are standalone dies? These are, I call them bonus dies, standalone dies. These are dies that don't cut out anything in the stamp set, but they cut out other just cardstock, and they are gorgeous. Okay, so I cut these out of 2 different colors. I used soft seafoam, and I used shaded spruce. Okay, so now I'm going to mount that onto my card. And I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on here, little spots of glue all over this die. Dyed cut piece. It's not the die itself, but it's the die cut piece. Okay, and then I have my soft sea foam. I'll do that also. Less is more. If you can get just tiny bits to come out like this, it's perfect. This is the awesome glue. This is, I call it the green glue. It's actually called the mono multi-purpose liquid glue. But it has 2. It has the very pointy tip, and then it also has this bigger tip, which I hardly ever use. Don't know why, just don't. Okay, looking good. I think it's pretty good. Got a little glue everywhere. Okay. All right. I like to use this. I got this off of the internet. I'm sure you know where. And it just keeps point down, which to me, you know, the tip that I use 90% of the time, probably 99% of the time. Okay, so now I'm just going to add this to my card. glue that down. And if you don't use too much glue, it won't squish out, which is key. And then the lighter one over it. Like that. And I'm going to use my silicone craft sheet to hold that down for a few seconds. While that's drying, I did cut in advance a white piece out of the other, another die from Perennial Postage, okay, for my sentiment. I thought that would coordinate well with what I had done before. And I thought one of these sentiments from Layering Leaves would look great in there. Either Sending Hugs, I think that'll fit, but thank you so much, thinking of you. And then I have these 3 colors of ink that I can choose. So I think I'm going to use, which one? Ooh, they're all kind of, I might have to just use Hello. Oh wait, what's Thinking of You? Will that fit? Ooh, it's going to be tight. Nope. I think I'm going to go with Hello. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to stamp that. And now I'm going to use Shaded Spruce, because my card base I decided was going to be Shaded Spruce. So I'm using all 3 of those colors, and I'm going to continue to use those throughout the card. Look how pretty that is. When your stamp pad is inked up nicely, you are going to get a beautiful image. If you don't have reinkers, you might need to consider a few, because it really helps. Okay, so now we have that. So now I'm going to use some dimensionals. A couple dimensionals on here. This is busy because of that background. This white will break it up and make it not quite as busy. And I have my card base, Shaded Spruce. Whoops. And I dropped my bone folder. I love doing these videos. I hope you're enjoying them. Okay, now this is going to get mounted on here. And see just that edge, that little tiny edge. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then our card base, of course, is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, if you fold it properly. And I'm going to pop this up also. I'm going to put quite a few dimensionals on here. Because I don't want my card, it's nice and heavy now because it's layered so many times, and I'm going to layer inside this card base also, this Shaded Spruce, because you won't be able to write on it, it's too dark. But look at that, so pretty. I love these colors together. Okay, there's our finished card. So again, it's all about color, and these 3 colors, oh, I think they just go so well together. I love them. I love the 3 of these colors together. The sweetness of these, the dark, the light, it's just beautiful. So thanks for watching my video today. I need to trim that off a little bit. It's hanging over. My name is Trevis Bossler, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in St. Louis, Missouri, and I appreciate your watching. If you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, that helps me get more views. Thanks so much, and have a great weekend. I'll see you on Tuesday.